This is Carnage Candy, for the fans.
Welcome to the horror show. You realize there is nowhere to run. Don't know game to fight. Paranoia is getting alive.
Friday the 13th. Repetition. A fan film written and directed by Joseph Choi and starring Peter Gagik, the Cinemasochist, alongside some of his friends. The plot. While meeting up with a friend, a trio of pals run into an insane prophet of doom. He warns them of the terror they're currently walking into. The area is known as Camp Crystal Lake, and its population is 1. Jason Voorhees. No more than 2 minutes later, Jason comes out and begins to pick off everyone one by one. Who will survive? Please, Peter, please, Peter, please, Peter, please, Peter, please. This is a very short fan film, and in that we don't really get to know the characters, which is essential to a Friday the 13th film, no matter how lovably or poorly it is done. We do get to know some of their traits. One of them is the complainer, who doesn't want to be there. One is the final girl, and then there's the smartass jock-like writer, played by Peter Gagik. If you think I'm going to gush about the Cinemasochist, I'm not. Yet. If you also think that I'm going to let my judgments be blinded by his awesomeness, then you're wrong. This is a somewhat amateur film, but hey, so was the original, and that's in my top 3 favorite Friday the 13th movies. There is some shadows of crew members. In one scene you can see a telephone wire, and in another, there are some people walking away in the background. I get it, lighting and timing is a big deal, and I won't hate on it. This was probably shot on weekends whenever it was convenient. I did love the lens flares, and it did have a great soundtrack reuse from the prior Friday the 13th films. There was one out-of-place part with the hokey military music from Part 6, but I do dig it. It's definitely got a schlocky feel, and I love that. The meat of the story is just cliché, but so were the best Friday the 13th movies. I'd consider this a proper Friday the 13th fan film. Why? Here's why. It's got everything that makes the best of the Friday the 13th films what they are. There's a certain level of cheese that doesn't necessarily delve into comedic territory, but the black comedy is very Friday the 13th Part 6 Jason Lives-esque. Every Jason movie has cheese, though. From 1980 to 2009, there isn't one Jason film that has taken itself 100% seriously. It's got the brutality of Friday the 13th, the final chapter, and Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday. The traits, such as the Prophet of Doom and storytelling of parts 1 to 4, 6, and 8 in the Friday the 13th series, some eerie moments like in the first 5 Friday the 13th movies, as well as Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood, the drag-out punch fest of Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, the over-the-top nature of Jason X, the poorly choreographed yet entertaining fight of Freddy vs. Jason, and the homages like in the 2009 remake. I could have referenced more, but it works. That's all I need to say, really. Jason Voorhees is played perfectly by 3 people. Nathan Robinson, Gerald Varga, and of course, Peter Gagik, whom also had a badass brawl with Jason. Some of the sound effects were a bit amplified, but it was better than having barely any impact on the needed hits. So what else is there to talk about? We've been giving quite a treat already. What's that one thing every Friday the 13th movie, no matter how butchered the film has become because of the MPAA? Oh yeah, butchery. The gore, the effects. A fruit can is smashed into one's neck, a machete is sliced into one's face, there's a decapitation, with an awesome-looking practical severed head, a throat rip, and lots of blood. The effects are actually really good, too. It was just what I was expecting, and I wouldn't have it any other way. The musical score! It's just rehashed music. It's like a best-of compilation. The question here isn't why is it so unoriginally composed, it's how well does it fit. I'd say that it works quite well in submitting itself into the environment that the film showcases. This is a low-budget and amateur Friday the 13th film, and I love it. At 14 minutes, it seems to fit in everything I love about the franchise. The Cinemasochist isn't only a great YouTuber, my favorites in fact, but he's part of a very awesome homage to a beloved franchise. Overall, I give Friday the 13th Repetition a 3.5 out of 5. Disclaimer: any short film I review has to be over 10 minutes. Enough said. Lion Brian Gatto, host of Horror Show Entertainment. Make sure to like my Facebook page in the description below and leave comments and subscribe.